Well, I'm already surrendering because I'm not going to fight drugs.
It's a real man's car. Plan was immediately to give up. I'm mad.
You're mad?
Yeah.
Why mad?
I've got beef with someone. This is an individual that I'm upset with.
Thank God Dan isn't here to get this beef directed at him in person.
Receipts. I've got receipts.
Oh my God. That's how you can tell it's a big day.
You know who it is?
Who?
You're not gonna guess.
Is it Suzuki Joe?
No.
Damn.
It is a famous recording artist from the UK, actually.
Ringo?
No beef with Ringo.
Okay.
He's got the hardest name, but he's the softest guy.
It's not Ed Sheeran.
And that's part of my beef with him. It's James Blunt.
James Blunt. Okay.
Hardest name.
That is a hard name.
Soft guy.
Okay.
And that my beef with him is the song "You're Beautiful," right? Probably his biggest hit, according to Spotify, by a factor of 3. You probably heard it before. The "You're Beautiful."
Yeah.
That one. You know. But I've got an issue with the way he wrote the song. So first of all, my life is brilliant, my love is pure. Okay, whatever, man. I saw an angel, of that I'm sure. All right, so far so fine.
Okay.
She smiled at me on the subway. She was with another man. Oh no, it's a little bit of a problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
But he says, I won't lose no sleep on that because I've got a plan.
So already I'm seeing this man doesn't really care for the holy sanctity of marriage.
Oh, that's not my problem.
Okay.
My problem is that he never once fucking spells out the plan.
What?
That's it. That's the last he mentions the plan. Then he just goes out to say, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful. It's true. I saw your face in a crowded place, and I don't know what to do. What do you mean, man?
I thought he had a plan.
Yeah, just a second ago you said you knew what to do. What happened, James? Because he starts by saying, I've got a plan, and then immediately, I don't know what to do, because I'll never be with you. He just gives up. His plan was immediately to give up. These are 3 lines apart. There is no difference. Like, there is not there's no event that takes place that would make him say this or change his mind. He never actually iterates what his plan is. He just gives up.
This sucks.
Yeah, he never has a plan. He lied.
He can lie if he wants, but you can't explicitly say,
I've
a plan. Got a plan.
Hey, I won't lose no sleep on that. I've got a plan.
And then,
all right, James, hit me with it.
The very next line is like, what do you call? He didn't know what to do, or not the next line, but like the next meaningful line.
Didn't know what to do because I'll never be with you. So where was your plan? Did you ever have a plan?
Maybe
James
his plan was getting over it, but that also clearly is not the case.
He doesn't do that
because all he does is write an entire song about how damn that girl was hot, and I'm never gonna get over it.
It's so true, and I got beef with that.
You know what? I had beef with this song just because I hear it too often.
Yeah,
people also ask, who is James Blunt's wife? So,
well, I know who it's not.
Yeah, it's not the girl on the subway.
I do like the part of the song where he goes, she could see by my face that I was fucking high. Just because the way he says it is really funny. Yeah. And it makes the whole song get recontextualized a little bit because you're like, oh, you were really, really high on the subway having a weird fantasy. And I guess I can't say I've experienced that.
Oh, hey.
That guy's probably zooted. That guy's torqued out of his gourd. And then he was like, wow, I think she loves me. But that's just a normal white guy thing to do.
Honestly, it really is though, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I got beef with James Blunt now.
You know what? I respect that beef with James Blunt. That's the initial beef of his name goes hard, and that's
only a very minor part of it. Because he can't choose his name. Well, he can a little bit.
He can. He's a musician. Dare I say he might have even chosen the name James Blunt.
He's a musician, so I suppose he might have actually directly chosen that name.
A lot of people do that. Actually, we were just Nina and I were talking today about what's his name?
Jamie Foxx?
No, it was Liam Lynch. Who we were like, is that Dave Lynch's kid? No, he just picked the name. That's not his real name.
Just happens.
But he directs a whole lot of music videos, and Tenacious D's The Pick of Destiny.
I know Jamie Foxx is a stage name as well. Because I only know that because he's been all over everything lately because he's in the hospispittal. Seems to be doing well. He seems like he's on the recovery, which is good.
Yeah,
but I guess
he
was just if I go by Jamie Foxx, they'll think I'm a hot girl and they'll give me an audition, and then I'll do really good and they'll hire me anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say maybe because it worked.
Honestly,
Like,
I
he's
mean,
famous as hell.
if
And, like,
that is not a made up story, then shit, dude.
I mean, he
it
said
did
it,
work.
so why would he lie?
That's so true. Why would Jamie Foxx lie to me?
He's in the hospital. He's not in a place. Well, he probably said this
Exactly.
before he was in the hospital.
See, I was gonna say he's in the hospital. He doesn't have time to lie, but yeah, you know.
Well, he's probably doing a lot of lying down.
Oh, that
He's probably in like the hospital bed because they don't really give you like a hospital bench usually.
no.
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of people get the good old hospital bench. I mean, you're not there to see the doctor if you're getting the hospital bench. You're just kind of like hanging out. But
I don't think I've ever sat in a bench in a hospital.
I've sat in one of those bench seats while I'm in the waiting room.
I guess I've maybe been on like one of those like trauma benches, not trauma benches, but you know, right outside like the like death room type
The
situation.
death room,
I don't know
huh?
what they call it, but like I don't know, not in a while, but like
where they sit you down
operating
because you're
room type
sitting there waiting
situation.
for the good or bad news, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's a bench because benches are easy to get.
yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like Jamie Foxx is lying a lot on the bed, but I don't know if he's lying about his name.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if he's lying about his name, it's pretty easy to trace back to see what his real name was initially.
And you know, if he's lying about his name, that's fine.
I don't
If
care.
he made up the story today, I don't care. That's fine.
It's a
fun
good story.
It's a good story.
Mm-hmm. And like the science behind it does hold up. Like
It's true.
even if it was a fake story.
If you were to tell me that like someone was named Jamie Foxx,
with two
It's a-
X's,
it's a
I'm going
very-
to assume that that's a porn star.
with multiple X's, I agree.
Mhm.
But also, like, you tell me your name is Jamie Foxx, I think it does have a more feminine name, like ring to it. I mean, it's a very like gender neutral
It
name.
is very, very.
The only thing
gender
that like Megan Fox is like the only example I
And
have.
that is the
but
thing,
that's
right?
not actually like that doesn't matter because just because you know Megan Fox, it doesn't mean you know any. It's not like they're cousins.
They're not.
I don't think
They're not. But
he has
his
two
name's
X's.
Jamie Foxx.
Two X's. I think she only has one X.
Well, yeah, he changed his name. We've been over this.
Oh yeah, it's
It used to be Jamie Foxx with one X.
He's like, I got him now. They'll never see it coming.
So when you came in today, Jackson, I told you that I had a funny letter from Kia that I wanted to read to you.
And my initial guess was it an apology for the creation of the Kia Soul? And you said it's something very close to that.
So it's real. This is hilarious. Let me read to you from Kia American Corporate Headquarters. All right. Dear Kia Soul vehicle owner, which is already a bad way to start
that
this
means you're on the
message.
Kia Soul owner list.
Actually, this is a legitimate like curiosity. Obviously, a notary stamped my title and said I own the car. How do they find out that I bought
DMV,
the car?
I think, has all
Oh,
your
that-
records.
I guess that actually would
and they
be
share
it.
them with like that way for like recalls and stuff. They can.
Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. But okay, I've been wondering that.
But
for a
still,
while.
they have you. You are on the Kia Soul registry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to tell your neighbors when you move?
Probably.
Like, you know, I just had to let you know. I just moved into the neighborhood. I am a Kia Soul driver.
Then they can just go, oh, cringe, ew, L,
And
and then
vote you out of the neighborhood.
they could. That's why I'm glad we don't have an HOA here because they're like, I don't want a Kia Soul person here.
You're ruining the neighborhood.
Oh, God, there's like 3 white Kia Souls in this area, like within a
'cause you don't
square
have an
mile
HOA.
of me.
There's no one to stop them.
Anyway,
What does it say?
Dear Kia Soul vehicle owner, you may be aware of media reports regarding risky social media challenges that encourage young people to break in and steal certain Kia vehicles.
Yeah, mine's one of them.
These challenges target Kia vehicles equipped with a steel key and turn to start ignition system. In response to this new phenomenon of online theft promotion, we are taking steps to try to address this criminal activity by providing steering wheel locks to interested local law enforcement agencies in certain affected areas to be distributed to concerned Kia owners at no cost.
Yeah, it's true. I thought I already said that on the podcast because my car is one of them. I didn't get the
Did
letter
you
in the
say
mail.
that?
Yeah, I didn't get the
See,
letter in the
I didn't
mail.
hear, but I don't
But my
remember
insurance
that.
doubled.
Your insurance doubled
Yeah,
because of it?
and they won't, like, a whole bunch of providers aren't carrying if you have one of the vehicles. Mine isn't even one of the vehicles that
It's just
technically
a
counts.
Kia.
Well, no, mine is like the Kia like Forte year and model that I have is one of them. But when I got it, like one of the things from the dealer is they had already, I guess someone had ordered the car and then never picked it up kind of situation, or like fell through or didn't get the financing. I don't know exactly what it is, but basically I've got the like push to start upgrade for free just because it was in like someone had
because
ordered
someone
it,
had already,
and it was
like-
already installed and they were like,
Yeah.
it'll be
quote,
$500
unquote,
extra
paid
dollars.
for it.
And I was like, well, I don't want to pay $500 extra. I didn't ask for it. And they were like, okay. It's like, wow, that's it?
I
That's
learned
all I had
recently
to
that
do?
you can bargain down like mattress salesmen like that too. If you're just like, I only want to pay like $800 for this $1,700 mattress. Sometimes they'll just say yes.
Yeah, like actually
Fucking
like
hell,
I
man.
like didn't even intend to, but I ended up haggling a lot out of my car. But that was one of the things is they were like, well, it has the push to start. I'm like, well, okay, well, I'll take one without the push to start. They're like, well, it's the only one we have. I'm like, well, I didn't ask for push to start, and they're like, well, okay. I'm like, wow, you just like you can do that, and then I did it with like 4 more things.
You got the
And every
leather
time
seats
they
and the
were like,
moonroof, and you're
yeah,
like,
and
oh, I
every
don't
time
want
they were like,
those.
literally, like the sunroof is like in my car, and they were like,
Mhm.
that's not base model. I'm like, okay, well, do you have a base model? And they're like, no. I'm like, well,
I love
looks like we're out of luck then.
I love how much you can just get away with by saying, "Well, I didn't ask for that." And what recourse do they have other than to go, "Oh, you got us there," and take it off?
Yeah, so it's not like I saved like millions of dollars, but I got like a whole bunch of stuff in my car that was like the upgraded version that I just was like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. But yeah, so mine doesn't apply, but my insurance company doesn't care or know that
Wild.
because it's technically still the same model as all the ones that are a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, we're still gonna make your insurance spike.
Yeah, if my insurance spikes, then I'm gonna get in a fight with my agent about
Yeah,
it.
I just dropped like all of my coverage on like half the things because I was like, I'm not paying $200 a month for insurance. I've never even had a speeding ticket
Yeah.
because that's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
Like-
that's like I get in wrecks regularly kind of prices.
Yeah, I've
That's
never been in
hazard
an
driver
accident,
costs.
never been pulled over for speeding. Like it's actually like ludicrous. But
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up one of these locks because then I can say to my insurance company, "No, see, I have a steering wheel lock, so I'm doing everything in my power."
yeah,
Freak internet trend act of God is
it's like it's one of those
what am I
things where
supposed to do?
I don't know if it's an internet trend like TikTok challenge, steal a car, or if it's like a hey, these cars are easy to steal, and then people who would steal cars are like, okay, I guess I'm going for that one. I don't think it's like a.
Right.
I think it's kind of like a bit of a Tide Pod challenge situation where
Honestly,
it's not
that's-
real.
I reading this, I'm like the new media challenges to steal a Kia, and I'm like,
No, I think that's the new like person who wants to steal a car challenge.
right? Like, I'm sure that there's a lot of people online talking about how easy Kias are to steal because this one
They're
time
getting a letter
I
in the
locked my
mail.
keys in my car and I had a city cop come up and help me break into my car. You know, he got into my car really easy. But, you know, he didn't tell me about how easy my car was to break into, probably because he didn't want me to get like concerned or anything. But he did tell me how easy it is to break into a Ford truck, which is insanely easy.
They're built like Ford Tough, but only like that's
Only
not,
to run into things.
that's to run into things.
Yeah.
That's to slam your truck into a brick wall or a person or anything that's in your way because
Yeah.
luckily you get to take up the whole road.
Exactly.
Unless you're a Ford Ranger, then I have nothing but respect for the Ford
I got a lot of
Rangers.
respect for a Ford Ranger. I mean, like, it's even easier to break into because you know those doors are all like rickety as hell.
I don't think a single Ford Ranger, like, yes, I know that they maybe even still make them, but I don't think a single Ford Ranger was ever made after 1983.
Or with functioning locks on their door.
Or, like, yeah, the Ford Ranger is, it's a real man's car.
Yeah, it's the true
'Cause
working
it
man's truck.
sucks. But in a good way. You know what might suck in a good way? A new flavor of Mountain Dew.
Holy shit.
Fresh for the summer.
Where the hell did you pull that from?
Handed it to you and I walked in the door.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
It's the new Mountain Dew. I don't know. I just stopped at Circle K and they had like a thing and it was new. And I was like, I'll get something to try on the podcast. Because I feel like last time, or not last time, but a few times ago, we had the gingerbread one.
We did have the gingerbread.
And this is a
This is Summer Freeze.
summer
Blast
freeze.
Pop
It's
flavor.
definitely like, yeah, like a
I'm sorry, no,
bomb pop.
a blast of summer Americana, legally distinct.
Yeah, it doesn't really say that, like, but you know what it is.
God damn it! If this is just Blue Dew again,
You know, it does taste like one of those like bomb pops, kind
it
of,
really does.
which is fair because Mountain Dew already, like Mountain Dew Voltage already 80% tasted like that anyway.
Yeah, this is. I would call this blue cherry.
Yeah, I mean yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
Like it tastes like you're drinking a melted popsicle with carbonation. Definitely like a lot of sugar.
mm-hmm. No, it's
Oh, an insane amount of sugar.
I think every single time I have a Mountain Dew, I'm reminded how sugary Mountain Dew is versus every other soda.
Yeah, 72 grams in this bottle.
That's so much
That's
goddamn
an
sugar.
insane amount of sugar.
That's 145% of your daily sugar intake.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I feel like it's kind of crazy that we just create things that are single serving, but also more than you can even have of one thing in a day.
It's pretty
Like,
wild,
I
right?
get it. Like, I suppose like you shouldn't make it illegal to have more than 100% of your daily amount of sugar in a drink. Like, making it a crime is maybe a bit much.
But
But like,
also,
it's strange that 150% of it can be in one Mountain Dew, and they go on sale for like buy two kind of specials.
yeah. I mean, I could buy like a 2 liter of this shit for a $1.50, $2.70, whatever.
Yeah. That's a very, very
And
different price range. I mean, not
well,
actually like
I'm
in
not
terms
gonna
of the
lie, I
big
haven't
picture.
bought bulk
I
soda
haven't
since I
either.
was like 18.
Yeah, that's
So
fair. But yeah, and like you're, I don't know. That's just a lot of sugar to be drinking.
I feel like if I had a small soda that actually was under 100% of my daily sugar intake, and I saw that on the can, and that was an actual serving size, like limit the serving size to actually like a reasonable amount of like the sugar intake, I think that it would definitely like curb people's soda though, right? Like you would still have the jumbo sodas, but if on the jumbo sodas it said this is 9 servings of soda
Yeah.
versus oh, this is 1 serving of soda with 1.5 of your daily allotment of sugar.
It's a lot of sugar. I feel like people just eat a lot of sugar in general.
No, that's definitely true. Sugar is a much more pervasive thing than I think I had originally thought it was.
I feel like living in America is kind of like a pre-existing condition for diabetes.
It kind of is, right?
Where it's like, sure, there's plenty of things you can do to help with it, but like, if you just go anywhere and get something that's just like the recommended amount or like the very commonly available thing, it'll be like, yep, that's more than you're supposed to even have for the day.
Because you look at it and it's like, okay, 270 calories, a hefty drink calorie, you know, but like if you're pairing it with something like normal, like, oh, just like a single sandwich or
Yeah.
something like that, then you're fine. But like if you're pairing this with a pizza, and are you doing one slice of pizza like the serving says? No, you're gonna have like 4 of them. So already you're like quadrupling your technical allotted pizza intake.
Your pizza intake.
And that's why stuff like this is like it's good as a treat, right? Like cuz that's what it's for. It's good to be like a you're not eating it all the time, you're just here to have a good time kind of thing.
Yeah, but because the company's only goal is to make as much money as possible, why would they let that be the norm? When they
Right.
could instead incentivize it as a replacement for water.
Okay, so fucking hell, man. So a friend of mine on Facebook the other day shared a post talking about
The flat earth.
God damn it. No, thankfully not this person.
Okay.
But it was a post about like food, and they're like, I was in Italy and I was eating pasta every single day, and I was drinking 1 liter of Pepsi every single day. Blah
What?
blah blah. I had gelato with dinner, like all this stuff, like that's like technically not good for you. And they were like, and I lost weight over the time I was there. America has a food problem, and it's like, you know, they were talking about like additives in the ingredients and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I really, 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 really feel like people are discounting how much extra abuse you can get away with, like giving your body if you're walking everywhere all the time. You know?
Also, it's like, what was your diet like in America? Because it was probably pretty similar.
Mhm.
Like, it's not like people, you're like, oh, we eat pasta every day. In America, you would never eat pasta every day.
Because
Who
they're
wouldn't?
like, how
Because
am
like
I
it's
losing?
very normal to do that.
Exactly, because they're like, see, if I can eat almost the same technically bad diet in Italy that I can here, that's because there's too much processed food in America and not enough fresh. And it's like, firstly, you're not eating as much fresh food as you think you are, probably, if you're eating that kind of stuff. But yeah, Europe eats more fresh food than America, but they walk so much more.
Because you can
And we're
walk to
just-
somewhere.
Exactly. We're just getting hit with the double whammy of a decent amount of processed foods, which are not inherently bad for you. They're just not like as good for you. And you sit to go everywhere. You don't walk anywhere. Like so much, like there's just so much you can get away with if you're also walking like 5 miles a day.
Yeah, because it's like exercise.
Yeah.
But we don't really do a lot of that.
No.
Because it's not fun.
It's really not.
Which is so sad. Like, you don't get a big dopamine hit from walking to somewhere.
Mm-mm.
But you can go somewhere if you walk there. Although
Yeah.
you can't here. I couldn't walk anywhere from my house without
No,
going.
no,
seven-
not at all.
Like, literally, if I wanted to go to somewhere and buy something from my house,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to walk at least 3 miles. Maybe would be the most. I suppose technically like 2-ish. I could get somewhere that sells. It's like a place that does tires, and I think they have a vending machine.
Oh, so if you wanted to walk 2-ish miles to the tire place,
I could get like a Coke.
then you could buy an overpriced candy bar from the vending machine.
Yeah. And
What a
the
win.
only things I would be able to buy are actually the things that are most loaded with sugar and awful for you.
Well, to give you the energy to drag yourself back because
True.
you're not used to walking.
But if I walked 4 miles, I could go to a Dollar General.
Ooh, 8-mile round trip to pay, once again, overpriced for everything.
And most of it's bad for you. So, win-win.
Win-win. Yeah, that's the only downside of my new job is the initial plan had been, oh, my new job is like within walking distance of my apartment. That's great. I can walk there. I did not think about the fact that I do not actually ever work there. I'm just based there and I work everywhere else.
You're based?
I'm so based there.
There.
Which
Well, you
has
don't
been-
work there?
No.
Ever?
I've worked there for a month now and I have not had a single day scheduled there.
That's crazy.
It's really funny, isn't it? Yeah, I pop in once a week to get my schedule. And they're like, well, you're not working here again. And I'm like, I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm not expecting to work here anymore. At first I was, and now I'm like, well, I guess thinking about it, there's no way I'm going to end up here. They have so many people that can do my job there. I'm going to be everywhere else. They don't need me there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're not going to walk to work?
I'm not going to walk
But you can
to
walk
work.
to get your schedule.
I can. I'm probably going to do that today, actually. After
So-
you leave, I'll pop up real quick and be like, hey, guys. But I don't think my schedule's out yet because I've also noticed, and this is not me trying to slander my new boss, but I have noticed that every single day, or every single week, I get an email saying, hey, please turn in the schedule for this store, please. Specifically them and a couple other places. But not great news. It doesn't look like they're good at getting my schedule out on time.
I don't know that anybody is. Scheduling
My old place
employees
was.
seems to be like impossible.
Yeah.
Because half the people who are scheduling are like, yeah, but I don't care that you requested off.
Oh my god.
Because I have to schedule. And you're like, well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I guess. But you know who's going to stick around longer if you care about the thing that you pretend to give me the option for? Everyone. People love jobs that actually give them time off when they ask for it.
And then jobs will be like, we can't keep any employees.
No one wants to work
What do you mean you
anymore.
requested Tuesday off 18 months ago, 8 different times on 4 different paper forms that have been submitted through 3 different processes?
God,
We
I'm
had you
nervous about
scheduled.
that.
You have to come in.
I hate that shit, man. Because I don't get like confirmation of my requests off.
Or they'll be like, oh, I guess you can have it off. You're like, oh, not my problem. It's your problem. But
Mhm.
And they'll be like, why don't our employees like it here? They don't see us as a family.
Damn, I wonder why. Maybe because you're treating people like family
Sorry,
in
Mom,
a bad
you
way.
can't have the day off you've been talking to me about for 3 weeks. I hate you. Like,
Yeah, make me some French toast.
yeah. And also, I want to profit off of you.
God.
But just like family, though.
Honestly, just like family. Actually, it's just like family if your family was like the kind of family that made like cheap crafts and sold them on eBay or something like that.
Did your family make cheap crafts and sell them on eBay?
No.
Did you know families that made cheap crafts and sold them on eBay?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Because you brought it up like it was a normal thing. You were like, oh, yeah, it's like if you're one of those families that has the cheap crafts and you sell them on eBay. I don't think that's a thing.
No, I know some
I mean, I
people.
know it's
now,
a thing now, but
now they would buy pieces in bulk and assemble them. The kids didn't have too much of a hand
yeah,
in it.
but still,
But
what?
yeah, no, it was a
What were they buying
whole
pieces
thing.
for? What crafts were they making and then selling on eBay?
cheap jewelry.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So you have, if you buy like a bulk pack of like 10,000 assorted pendants, and then a bulk pack of like 10,000 assorted light chains, well,
You
my
have
buddy, you can
10,000.
mix and match so many different styles, can't you?
And you can fill all sorts of orders.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I find that like home jewelers, they're just scammers. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
like in the best intentioned ones. Okay, well first the best intentioned ones are actually like people who are
They actually like
somewhat skilled in jewelry as a trade. And
yeah,
know,
they have
what
like
they're
skills
doing.
in metallurgy so that they can actually like
Yeah,
you know.
oh, and there's plenty of those,
make
and
a
those
real
people
ass
are
thing.
cool.
Oh
Those
yeah,
people are
100%.
Cool. But if
but
you're
those
just
are the
like
people that like work at Ren fairs and they charge an outrageous amount because you're watching them make your thing in front of you.
yeah,
and
they're
they can
still
get away with it
they're
'cause they're
still
good at
scamming
it.
you though.
Oh, 100%.
So like even the best of them are still scamming you, especially at Ren fairs.
Oh my god.
Buying shit at Ren fairs is like it's always cool, but it's a grift and a half.
100%.
But like, there's worse grifts.
100%. Also,
yeah, I don't know. I think that the like jewelry borderline drop shippers are essentially just like BYOB pyramid schemes. You're just like you made your own pyramid scheme
yeah.
for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. Like you're not working in like a chain. You're not like buying from a company. You just like bought 10,000 pendants and 10,000 chains and are combining and flipping them. Okay, well I guess you'll eventually start to turn a profit if you can sell 10,000 of almost the same thing.
Oh, here's the thing though. There is a huge market for shit like that. Inexpensive but nice enough jewelry.
I don't know.
Back in the heyday of eBay, that was huge. Now you would just have to get yourself onto Amazon or something like that, and that's super easy.
How many people are buying these things? I guess more than I realize. Because
Mhm.
I personally don't see any value in like a cheap, like impersonal necklace with
I would
like
agree.
with like a pendant on it.
No, I'm definitely with you because I like my jewelry to be a fashion statement, but also a personal statement.
Or
you
at
know?
least something like
something,
unique.
yeah, unique, meaningful. Yeah, I got this funky little stainless steel ring with an eyeball on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's doofy. I like it. I got my weird little Cthulhu ring that I bought off eBay ages ago, and it's too big for me. You know, that's fun.
We
I
had
like it.
10,000 of them though, and they were almost all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there is a lot of prefab jewelry. I mean, it does just sell, I suppose.
It's the same kind of stuff that sells at like Walmart.
Yeah,
Can you imagine buying your jewelry from Walmart?
sure.
Not personally, not me, just because like
Oh, yeah,
they
like,
don't have anything that fits my style at
I guess in a
Walmart.
world where I'm buying like a thin, like stainless steel
Mhm.
chain
Mm-hmm.
with a cross on it, I can imagine buying it at Walmart.
Yep.
But like me personally, no, not really. I suppose.
Oh, but hear me out. What if it's a thin, definitely sterling silver chain, and it's got a little a flower pendant with a
Wow.
definitely ruby in the middle?
Definitely ruby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I guess I'd buy it if it definitely is a ruby.
Well, it's only $21.99
That's not
plus
bad
shipping.
for a ruby.
Exactly. And
I do like minerals and gemstones. We
I
talked about
love
this
those.
before. Where I'm a big fan of like a mineral. Like
Mhm.
they're just neat, and they
yeah.
exist in veins throughout the planet, and that's freaky.
Yeah, it's all the shots of like alien planets where they show like, oh, isn't this fucked up and weird? It's a crystal cave. We got those.
We have
though.
those. Where do you think we get crystals from?
And that's scary
Crystal
as hell thinking
caves.
about it.
They don't look the same as they do in the sci-fi movies, but like
Yeah, they don't glow. That's the
massive
only
ass
difference.
veins of quartz will just run through
Yeah.
sheetrock, depending on where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
You can mine cinnabar out of like just like a crack in the ground. And like they literally like indigenous people thousands of years ago were mining this shit.
Yeah.
So it's not like that hard to get to. And it's not like me saying they weren't that like good at it, but like they were, I mean, compared to having like an excavator.
Every now and then,
Like,
volcanoes
you can
explode
access this
and
stuff.
they rain down. What are crosses? Is it crosses that can come out of volcanoes sometimes?
Maybe.
Let me. Oh, let's Google fact check this
That's-
because there are volcanoes.
That shoot out crosses. See, that's not what I'm talking about exactly. I'm talking more like turquoise and cinnabar type material gathering, which was like done for thousands of years here in North America. And like it's because it just was fairly accessible. You had to work for it a little bit, but like native people were just like, oh shit, look at this awesome chunk of cool red rock. I'm selling this shit to that guy down the street. And the guy down the street was like, yo, thanks for the cool red rock. I've got some maize.
All right, so I'm having issues finding exactly what I'm thinking of, but it's this shit. Starlight. I can't remember if it's like X.
Because that's
shaped,
not
you
very
know?
cross shaped.
It is not, but it's
But I'm
cross-shaped
willing to
enough.
bet that I have an idea as to where you heard of this stuff from.
Yes.
And it's probably one of those things about how, see, this proves God is real.
Damn, you're so good at this.
And
There's
there's proof in the DNA. Look at this. 2 things crossed inside the genome. You're like, yeah, brother. That's an X.
Mm-hmm.
You think that like, and first of all, if like there is like the Christian God and he's real, and this is why that forms in that way, not because the crystalline structures settle in that pattern, because it's how they form like the most rigid version of themselves. If instead it's because of the cross, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Because the earth was forming, even if you believe the earth is 5,000 years old, it was forming before Jesus died on the cross. So that would be like me telling you, hey, Noah, next week I'm going to shoot you in the head. Hey, check this out. It's a gun. It's not a real one. I just formed it in the earth, though. Hey, right? It's a good one, right, buddy?
No, that's weird as hell,
The whole
right?
time you're like, dude, why are you joking about this? You're going to do that to me.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I feel like it's not that good of a... If it is God doing that, that's a little sick.
I would agree.
It's a little messed up, even.
So it looks like the Starlight Fairy Cross is what I'm thinking of. And if memory serves, there was an eruption and it brought up a bunch of these.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. And I just remember hearing about that. I don't even remember why I brought this up. I just think that funny crystal formations are very cool.
I do remember like always kind of hearing that when I was a little kid in the church. There was like, I'm sure you probably, I don't remember what it was called, but there was like a documentary that was like huge in the evangelical church when we were pretty young. I don't know if you saw it as well. It had stuff like this. I don't know if it had this exact example, but it had stuff like looking into space and there's a planet that's shaped like a cross, or a galaxy that takes on the shape of a cross. And you're like,
I don't think people think through what the implication of that is.
Again, it's the implication of, hey man, I'm going to torture and murder my son in a while. Until then, hey man, go look at that. Yeah, it's going to be your ass in a few years. That's not fun. Like, that's messed up, man. Why'd you do that to Jesus?
I mean, it even happens like modern era, like just removing yourself from something weird far enough that you don't think about how weird it is anymore.
Yeah.
But that was just like a torture device. That was like a torturous death machine that
also
the Romans hung up. And it was just very commonly used on all kinds of people. It wasn't just used on Jesus and the two criminals. All kinds of people died by crucifixion.
It's also this.
Yeah, it's
like
the most basic shape.
One of the, well, not the most basic shape, because lines exist.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the second most basic shape. Two intersecting lines.
Yeah. Especially because a lot of the evidence of like symbols of Christianity that exist in the cosmos are not like exact. It's not like if you had a picture of, I don't know, Moses hitting the rock and water coming out and that was a galaxy, I'd be like, holy shit, we got to do something about this. But like, it's two lines converging, brother.
I'm a huge fan of like the Eye Nebula, that people are like, oh, this is the Eye of God. But then like we got a better picture of it recently and it doesn't actually look like an eye at all. It actually looks like a lot more like just this funky cool thing, because we finally got a better picture of it that's not as blurred out, that looks exactly like an eye.
Well, we didn't get any pictures of it because you can't take pictures of space. They're all digitally altered.
So true. God, I remember seeing so much of this shit. And it's disappointing to think about how much of it probably isn't true and how much of it is probably made up. Because you're seeing some of these. So many of these are clearly retouched photos.
Yeah, that is just an eyeball with like a weird filter over it.
Yeah.
Many of these are very fake. Mm-hmm. In fact, I would say almost all of these are very fake.
This one's a classic that I've seen, and looking at it now, it looks fake as hell. I don't know if it was,
but that's probably why like so many like Christians are like quickly becoming like desensitized to any idea of space and its existence. And you've got so many like the flat Earth type people kind of coming out of the woodwork where they're like, okay, yeah, but that thing that
space is fake.
That thing that I believed for a decade wholeheartedly was evidence of God. Turned out it was just a kind of a blurry picture. No, turns out all of it was a lie, and I was right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, well, I feel like we're moving the goalposts there, but
I think there's a lot of man, we're really just kind of like ticking through topics today, but that's okay. I feel like there's a lot of situations where, especially the current generation, because there was so much superstition-based fact statements. Because I remember being taught by someone that men had fewer ribs than women.
I was fully told that as well.
And I remember, and this is no dig against my mom on this one, because she was also told that. But I remember her mentioning that in front of my dad and him being like, what? That's not true. And this was when we were actually able to look it up. And he's like, no, that's made up. And she's like, oh, never mind then. Never told us that again, you know?
Yeah, but it's
because she's not stupid. She can tell when someone was, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth so you can listen more than you talk. Like, she was able to put two
Also,
and two
why
together.
God gave deer 2 ears and 1 mouth.
So
they could listen more than they talk.
So true. But
I always say that to the deer when they're talking to me too much.
It's like, listen,
hey,
guys.
God did not give you 2 mouths, Bambi. He gave you a dead mom.
So
jot
true.
that down.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably because he was talking too much. You know how it is.
And he was always chatting with the rabbit and his friends and stuff.
But, there's so many things like that you realize that, your Sunday school teachers or whoever taught you with like their full chest.
And they believed it.
And then you find out, like, not very long later, oh, that's not even remotely true, actually. And they might not even have known that. A lot of them, I really don't think knew that.
Well, because if you look at I remember like my Sunday school teachers, they weren't like, one of them actually was like a school teacher, but most of them weren't like,
most of them
educated
are just older volunteers at the church who care a lot about the kids and want to make sure that they're raised right. So they'd tell them the exact same things that they were taught growing up.
Yeah. And they'd have and a lot of them were like, oh, I work a full-time job. And so they would be like, well, good thing there's this program that's all over the country. And they help me with like pamphlets and information and packets. And then they're like, turn into like these different ministries. And they're like, oh yeah, they believe good stuff. So I'll take some of it and teach it to the kids when I don't have time to prep. And the next thing you know, you're getting taught the dinosaur bones were actually put there by Satan 4,000 years ago to try and trick us into believing that lizards used to be big.
Yep.
And that's weird.
It is really weird. And people don't realize that some people actually do believe, like some otherwise very rational people, which you could argue how rational can you be if you legitimately believe the devil put dinosaur bones on the earth to test our faith. But
anything that people will be like, that's something to test our faith, or anytime testing faith is like the reason for something's existence, I'm like, oh, you just don't have an answer, huh? You're drawing a blank.
Tune out so quickly as soon as I hear shit like that. I'm like, oh, okay.
Like, well, it's all about faith. You're like, it is. That's why it kind of doesn't hold up to some scrutiny, especially when it comes to the way that you justify treating other people. Because, yeah, it may be all about faith when it comes to what happens after you die, but right now you're being a shithead to people who are hurting. And that isn't about faith. That's just about being better. But you don't think about that at the time when you're stuck in it, because you're not thinking about how can I be like better to the people around me. You're like, how can I keep doing the things that this thing tells me to do that are like seemingly unattainable? And
how can I teach the people around me that I'm right actually when I act like this?
Yeah. And like so many the Christians will use the argument of like, and again, this isn't like an anti-Christian podcast or anything.
No.
But like, as you have what's your phone back?
Nothing.
Anyway, it's not like an anti-Christian thing in particular, but just as soon as I said that, I looked over and I was like, oh, well, maybe it is. Not from me anyway. But no, I lost my point.
To hit that other thing though, it's like,
it was an upside down cross, by the way.
Yes.
That's what derailed it.
It's the one I posted on Twitter like a year ago at this point, I think. But, I have, like you were saying, I have no issues with Christians as people. It's Christians' beliefs when they push them onto other people that become a huge problem. When they're out here getting people killed because they're like, actually, killing these people is better than the alternative, having someone be gay. That's not cool.
Because then they go to hell. And then you suffer for all eternity. And it's like, if you genuinely believe that, then yeah, you're kind of right.
Well, no, still no.
But like, no, I guess not, because like then they're killing them and sending them to hell. So it doesn't really work.
It's like if you kill them and then they never have a chance to change their mind about you.
But shit like banning HRT and shit like forcing people into conversion therapy camps is one of those things where like it is only justifiable by people who have bought into the delusion that it is eternal suffering in store for people who don't agree. And that eternal suffering makes so many abhorrent things here and now justifiable. Because you've built this narrative that's like, aha, but I'm doing it for the greater good. Yeah, of course you're doing it for the greater good that none of us can see and only some of us believe in. So you're not doing it for the greater good. You're doing it for your moral ideas that you've constructed that not everyone ascribes to.
Yeah.
And that's weird.
Just a little bit weird.
They'd be like, but if it's, we know it's from God because it's not natural for men to want to obey all the rules in the Bible. I'm like,
Oh God,
yeah,
that's my favorite.
that's not why it's from God. That's why it's a method used to control people. You're controlling them through these narratives, not liberating them through their ability to adhere to things that you need them to do in order to give you 10% of their money.
That's always going to be my favorite justifier is, you may think it's hard to live with all these rules, but I'm here to tell you it's freeing to live with all these rules. A book of rules telling me what I'm not allowed to do is so much easier than just not being a shithead.
I mean, not really at all. Like, it makes no sense. And having been someone who, like, honestly, for what it's worth, when I was religious, I was a pretty good Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't really break a lot of the rules. Sure, you always will some here and there because there's so many that are very specific.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like, some things that, again,
I mean,
are
you wore
just, like,
polyester.
that's true, yeah. And there's so many that are, like, hotly debated. So many different rules that are like, oh, you can't eat shellfish. Well, yes and no. There's a lot of complications to the actual theology behind them, but it all is done to draw circles around the idea that you're controlling people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, yeah, I listened to those rules. It wasn't that hard. Like, it's not that hard to do most of the shit. Like, 90% of it, the most important stuff, like not committing adultery, easy, done.
Yeah, done.
Next, not murdering,
Easy.
on it.
Mm-hmm.
Doing it right now. I did threaten to kill you with a gun next week.
You did? Well, that's different.
But that's
actually.
next week.
It's because you put this really cool gun-shaped mineral in the ground.
And the mineral is shaped like a gun. So it's like a,
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts.
Don't even get me started on self-fulfilling prophecies. Because you can fulfill but look at all these prophecies this guy fulfilled. Yeah.
When did you write those down?
How many did you have? And even the ones before, how many are you stretching a little bit? And how many did you not fill?
Mm-hmm.
And how many did he fill because they knew he was supposed to fill them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I know that next week I'm supposed to kill you with a gun,
Oh, God.
well, guess what? It makes me a lot more likely to do, or at least to say happened.
Well, I mean, it's true because, a year ago, it was written down that Jackson will kill Noah with a gun next week.
I think
and
so.
I mean, like, well, it didn't mean next week, literally.
And it also said that you would be slain.
A length of time.
And you said that you would be slain by the powers that be. It didn't mention no gun and didn't mention me. But if you actually read the text the way that I do, it means that I was going to kill you with the gun next week. So.
Mm-hmm. So true. Yeah, this is actually one of those like questions that we are not going to be able to answer on this podcast, but I find it to be eternally interesting.
What's the question?
Jewish people don't believe Jesus was actually the Son of God. And I think that that's really kind of interesting since that's like kind of their whole shtick,
Well, it's not their whole shtick.
Waiting on him.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't, they were like, wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Family Feud buzzer.
Exactly. But
and then like,
I find it really interesting that like in the, thousands of years that have followed, the Jewish religion has mostly condensed itself down into a bunch of people saying, well, this is what I believe. And where's your defense for why you believe that? That's a good defense, actually. I think I might believe what you believe about this interpretation. I can't agree with you here, because as you can see in these other slew of texts from very esteemed like philosophers that specifically study this, the general consensus is you're wrong. So, and I think that's
why it's
great.
So cool that like Western Europe is like the main force of colonization and imperialism in the whole planet at this point. Because they, before that really started happening, either killed or exiled most of the Jewish people in their individual regions. There was actually a lot of historic prejudice that went very aggressively against Jewish people in the areas. And then they just started like holy wars amongst themselves over little schisms that they came up with.
Yeah.
And then they colonized the world with those mentalities and those ideas. And that's the way that you settle a conflict within a religion, instead of coming to a conclusion based on different ideas and settling where you are, which a lot of Christians got to eventually.
To a point.
You cut
in the way
all
that
the
they
Catholics'
can agree.
heads off in England because they won't let you leave your wife.
So true. And now you get to Christians in America who tolerate Baptists, who tolerate... Well, the Baptists don't tolerate a lot of people, but, the assemblies tolerate the Baptists.
Then you've got your...
and on down the line of everyone like, oh, I mean, they're a little shaky, but they got the spirit.
And then the non-denominationals pull up with the mustiest lick as they proceed to be entirely denominational, but in a weirder and stranger and worse way than ever before.
Oh, yes.
James Blunt is like my worst enemy, though. All
He's
this being
so much
said,
worse than all the things that
because
we have
he
said.
said he had a plan and then he didn't.
I hate being lied to in song. If you're gonna lie to me to my face. Don't make a song about it and then not even address that you're lying to me.
I am, no matter how mad I could get about the ways that some things in my life were a little bit led astray because of some of the things that I was taught to believe, I would never have written a song like James Blunt did when he wrote You're Beautiful, because he lied to everyone.
Well, it's because he was fucking high.
He was fucking high.
You know, there's nothing much to be done when you're, high like that.
It's true. I'm not going to say it again, but I thought about it.
That's fair.
It's just the fact that he says, I won't lose no sleep on that because I got a plan. And then he doesn't have a plan. And
Yeah.
like,
That's the time for the song to be this, like,
why would you
Rube
even say
Goldberg
that?
machine of a plan to
Yeah.
get this girl's attention.
Instead of just not actually having a plan and never expressing again that there was ever a plan.
Yeah. There's 2 verses in this song.
He basically did campaign promises.
Yeah. He's like, don't worry, I have a plan. I got nothing.
But I mean, at least part of the song is probably fake anyway. Maybe it's based on somewhat of a real experience. You can lie to us more, man. You can just
Yeah.
pretend that you got with her. You
Yeah.
can pretend that you guys fell madly in love and she was unhappy in a relationship, so you weren't even doing anything unethical and you were actually helping her
Exactly.
grow. Like, lie.
It's a fun little, like, meet cute song that way. Oh, we ran into each other on the subway. I was blitzed off my ass, and she was just like, "Damn, look at that guy. He's high." And then your
then I had a plan.
mean boyfriend said, "I hate homeless people, and I think he is because he's
Blunt-
high."
James
and
Blunt
James
was
Blunt's
homeless?
like, "Oh my god, what a terrible person. Let me steal her away."
And then he has a
her."
plan.
Because he has a plan.
He has a plan.
Goes to
and
Tahiti.
regardless of what the ultimate like moral standing of the song is, he could create a song that is highly unethical.
Yeah.
But as long as he executed and had a plan
I don't
and
care.
followed through in the promise,
That's all I want.
that's all I wanted. What else does he have? I had a period in my life where I was like, what if James Blunt is actually really good?
Mm-hmm.
And then I listened to like a full James Blunt album. Not very good.
That's such a shame.
A couple moments where I was like, all right, maybe I was wrong the whole time. And then he would like hit with one song and I'd be like, this is garbage, man. James.
Oh man.
James, how'd you do this? The only reason he came up today is actually he was on the finale of American Idol.
Fucking hell.
He
Like
showed-
recently or a while?
Yeah, no, he just like showed up and started singing with the winner. I don't really know. I don't know
I
how
hate
he
that.
got. Yeah, I don't know how
I
he
don't
got
understand how American Idol works.
there. I don't really either, but I don't know why James Blunt was there.
You ever think about
The
there
king
was
was there, actually.
the king?
The King of England was on American Idol.
What?
I don't make the rules. Lionel Richie is friends with the King of England, and Lionel Richie is a host on American Idol, and the King of England was like, yeah, I'll be on American Idol.
So King Charles shows up?
Well, actually, Lionel Richie showed up
Okay.
to Buckingham Palace to sing at the coronation. And then
Oh.
after the coronation, he was just hanging out with King Charles, and they filmed like a live thing for American Idol.
Fucking hell, man.
Again, I don't make the rules, but the King of
That
England
makes
was on
that
American
does make
Idol.
a lot more
and
sense.
this is
but
the biggest slap in the face to American independence since the burning of the White House in 1812.
That's really true. That is honestly very
It's
very
not
true.
his thing.
Mm.
It's ours.
It's our thing.
And, like,
American
As
Idol.
much as Lionel Richie is an American treasure,
Mhm.
that was
an
very
American
disrespectful.
Idol, if you will.
Well, he's a judge, but that was very disrespectful of him to bring the King of England on to.
Such an American
He didn't bring him to
institution.
America, which is good
Mhm.
because that wouldn't.
Yeah, we don't want him.
We don't
here.
want it. Actually, I mean, I feel like the king is like they visit America, right? Sometimes
I don't know. It's been so
when's the
long
last time the
since-
Queen of England came to America?
I think it's been long enough since the Queen was stable enough to travel that
That's probably true.
I don't think it's happened. Let's Jamie, can you bring that up?
Yeah, like did she come here pretty often? I feel like she definitely met Obama.
2007.
No, she missed Obama.
She floored Americans during her final visit to US in 2007. Man, she hung out with Bush.
She missed Obama by like a year. What were you doing, Lizzie?
4 state visits, 5 state dinners, and 2 unofficial visits since 1951.
Unofficial visits. Did they not stamp her passport?
Yeah, what does that mean?
You know they probably don't stamp her passport.
Does she even have a passport? She's the
would.
queen.
I would. So, not here.
I think it would be one of those things where, have you ever seen any like backstage footage of like music festivals where like maybe not like one of the back members of a band, but like the singer for a band who is usually used to being a little more recognized
I've not seen
tries to
video,
get on
yeah.
stage and then gets stopped by security and they're like, I need to see your badge. And he's like,
I'm Dave Grohl.
This is me. I mean, literally, that is almost what happened, except unlike Dave Grohl, who is much more famous than the singer for Lamb of God, it was the guy from Lamb of God.
What stage was he trying to get on?
His stage.
Okay,
where
that's
his
different.
band was
'Cause
about to play.
I was saying, if the singer for like Lamb of God was trying to get on stage at like a Kesha concert, I'd be like, yeah, man, you probably shouldn't have done that. But if he was trying to get on stage at like,
yeah, he's trying to get backstage,
especially his own concert.
Yeah, at
a
festival,
or
they
at
were
like
playing.
a friend, like not a friendly band, but you know how kind of it is with like acts. They're oftentimes cordial with one another and they collab in different ways. If it was like a buddies band, like, go for it.
Right?
But you know, if you try to like slip onto the Carly Rae Jepsen show,
you'd be like, no, get this guy out of here. I don't want him.
I do feel like Dave Grohl would probably get in anywhere, pretty much.
I feel like Grohl...
He does a really good PR for himself.
Well, firstly, he has amazing PR, and people love Dave Grohl, but I also feel like Dave Grohl is enough of an everyman that if I saw him in person, while I would immediately know that's Dave Grohl, I would also immediately think, or does he just look like Dave Grohl?
Yeah, that's true. Have you ever heard of Tony Hawk?
That poor guy.
A
friend of mine actually
like
met Tony Hawk
fake.
Recently.
I think the Tony Hawk thing is like 80% fake. And it's like a running joke at this point.
At this point, yeah, probably. I mean, he did end up having to defend some girl who's like, who was she? She's like the Olympic skateboarder or something, like a very incredibly talented skateboarder who clearly knows who he is, but she took a picture with him and said, this random guy came up and took a picture with me. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, but that's part of the running joke.
Exactly.
You know?
But people thought that because she was a girl and 13, that she was too stupid to know. Yeah, exactly. Thank God. I thought I was the only one here.
Yeah, no, I hate women. Sorry, Mari.
Hi, Mari.
Hi, Mari.
Someone at work the other night was just kind of like half tuning out of the conversation I was having with him. And one of the other guys there was just like, oh, you practicing for your wife later, huh? And like everybody laughed.
Good one, man. I also hate women.
I'm just like, I also laughed because I'm like, I'm not going to be I'm just going to stand here stone faced with everyone. But it was also like real. Yeah, that was it. It was like, it was weird, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
It's because like, as much as, you know, I joke and obviously don't hate women, a lot of people just do. Whether or not they realize it, like, it comes through in a lot of things and the way that they interact with people, like entirely regularly, and it's so strange and sad to see. But like, yeah,
there's so many, you know, comedy bits just built around women suck. Am I right? Well, no. What? Don't boo me. I don't mean like you. I mean like the wife. There. See, now you're all on my side again.
You guys don't cheer. I'm gonna say the C word.
Christmas. You can't say that. Oh, wait, no. Trump made it legal. Never mind. We can say Christmas again.
It was a crime before.
Merry Christmas, even.
Thank
Obama. You know, back when
Christ.
Obama... You know, when Obama was in the White House? Oh, my God. Thank Christmas. You would get dragged out in the street and pelted with snowballs for saying Christmas.
That's why the Queen didn't come here.
That's why the Queen didn't come here.
Because of Obama's Christmas war.
Exactly.
I was there.
I love the war on Christmas as a concept.
Me too.
It's so funny to me.
Is it... Who's winning?
Well, it depends.
Because we know drugs are winning.
Obviously, drugs are winning in the war on Christmas.
Well, I was talking about the war on drugs. What if drugs and Christmas teamed up, and
Christians do hate drugs?
We had to fight a war on
Christmas.
Christmas and drugs.
Well, I'm already surrendering because I'm not going to fight drugs. I don't want to lose.
It's true. They are pretty strong.
But I think I can take on Christmas. If all I need to do to defeat Christmas is release a cup that is red and doesn't have
a
manger on it, then I'm sold. Man,
I remember that debacle.
It's such a festive cup. It's Christmas red. It's a fucking Christmas red cup, and that was it.
Yeah. It was clearly a cup for Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, name one thing about any other holiday of the season that's like red in color. I don't believe that like most anything for Kwanzaa is red coated. I don't believe that anything I've ever seen really for Hanukkah is red coated.
Hanukkah, I usually see blue, white, and gold.
Blue, white, gold, silver, you know.
Yeah.
Blue and silver is kind of what I think personally.
Other classic Christmas colors.
But personally, yeah, I'm also going to say, like, if I had to pick my favorite Christmas colors, it's blue and silver.
Yeah.
I love blue and silver Christmas way more than red and green.
Blue and silver Christmas.
I love red and green. It's a classic.
It's more visually appealing to see blue and silver Christmas on like a postcard.
I just have the brain of a crow, and I like when it's shiny.
Shiny's good. I don't want to have a Coca-Cola Hallmark Christmas.
I don't mind the red and green, and I can get down with the red and green. And I think it's almost essential in a lot of ways.
Oh,
But
yeah.
blue and silver Christmases are pretty cool,
It's just kind of classy.
and it holds over well into like New Year's.
No, yeah, blue and silver is definitely good holdover into New Year's because it's also festive enough for we're ringing in the new year.
I went somewhere. I don't know. No, this is a pretty good story to tell on the podcast because I'm not gonna get all the way into it or anything. But I went to a funeral last week, and afterwards there was a wake,
Okay.
and it was held at a very divey bar.
Okay.
Like maybe the biggest dive I've been to, at least in Erie. I'll tell you after the podcast.
Okay.
But it's not like it wasn't a bad environment. Like it was maybe could have used a little vacuuming, a little sweeping here and there, whatever.
Yeah, just normal.
The thing is, the
stuff.
person who had passed away, this was like one of like his favorite dives.
Mhm.
So like we went. Most everyone who was at the funeral went, and yeah, it was like they had Christmas lights
Yeah,
in the
wow.
entire place.
Okay.
Tons and tons of Christmas lights, all of them off, and all of them from 2022 was the year. Like it had like a New Year's 2022 kind of theme, and it was like we had to, but we didn't have to, but we chose to ask the like owner to fire up the lights, like because this guy went there a lot and he had passed away, and like kind of in his honor, and also just to see what they look like, because everyone who like frequented there with him was like, it's actually pretty cool when they turn them all on. So we got the owner like cut the lights and then turn on all the Christmas stuff, and it was fun. It wasn't that impressive.
Not as impressive as everyone made it out to be.
Yeah, well, that's because they were a lot more drunk than I was. And I think, and also they went there a lot, so they probably had like a memory of it being great, and they were also probably plastered because it was like a Christmas or New Year's
I was
party.
going to say, they were all on around Christmas when everyone was there with their friends having a party and it wasn't awake.
And so I'm sure it was like more fun. And like, but the lights were like pretty colorful, and it was a lot of them. You could tell. I was like, ooh, this is maybe a hazard.
I do love that level.
I was like, this is like a
Oh.
National Lampoon's type. This is like this is maybe too much.
So like, I'm realizing turned all the lights out bright enough to light the bar Christmas lights. Holy shit, that's bright, man. That's too many lights.
And lots of them. Different colors, different patterns, flashes, not flashes, snowflake shaped, classic little bulbs, all sorts of Christmas lights. It was fun. And they were like everywhere. They were like the whole place was lined in them. Yeah, it was fun. But that's what it reminded me of. That's how I know the war on Christmas isn't over. There's still soldiers out there fighting on the side of Christmas.
Still a couple of holdouts.
Fighting
Bless
for
the
Christmas.
troops.
Nothing but respect for my president. Christmas. I
I
write in Christmas on every election. It's one of my favorite 30.
Christmas.
It's one of my favorite 30 Rock bits is the one where like Kenneth, like the one page dude, is like, "Oh, my church doesn't believe in voting. I just write God in for everything." And then one guy's like, "Yeah, no, we count that as Republican." Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I just wrote in God for president." He's like, "Yeah, no, we count that as Republican."
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, it's a good bit. It's a funny show at times.
I accidentally insulted a security guard last night because I had, it was voting last week, so I voted, and I got a little sticker that says I voted. And I'm like, oh, cool. That's neat. I put it on my water bottle. Hadn't thought a single thing of it, This guy, as we're walking out the door at the end of the night, was like, so did you actually vote or did you just get a sticker? And I'm like, what type of question is that? Where else do you even get these stickers, man? I voted. He's like, oh, okay. I didn't. And I'm like, oh, well, I know it was a smaller one, but you really should,
It's
right?
a primary, but like, an
Yeah.
off-year primary, you should do it, but like, not the end of the world if you
Yeah,
don't.
you're mostly voting for like city councilmen.
And
but
plenty of people are registered as like independent and they're not able to, because it's just a primary. But yeah, like, maybe
if you can get out there, you should do it. And he's like, oh, I never vote. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I mean, screwed either way, right? I'm like, no,
Whenever
man.
people say it, I'm like, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, because I'm like, I mean, to a point, buddy, but
But I also think that like
'Cause
being
then
the person that's like, you need to vote is like, they know that.
right.
Like shit, like nobody's like, oh, really? It's a thing that like matters on some level? Like, yeah.
Well, this guy unironically doesn't think it matters that much.
I can
And then
I can see the reasoning because like some people genuinely don't care and also
Yeah.
like kind of lean conservative but aren't invested in things.
Mhm.
So like they don't care if like
Yeah,
There's never any gun
it's
control legislation. And like they don't
very-
care if abortion access is limited. And they don't
Yeah.
care if trans people aren't allowed to participate in sports or even just get gender affirming care. They genuinely don't care about any of that.
Mhm.
And it doesn't affect them. And like if you're one of those people, that's sad. But then I understand why you don't vote, because you don't give a shit.
Yeah. But I ended up, when I insulting him, I was just like, I'll actually take your opinion seriously about things if you vote. And I didn't mean that directed at him specifically. I meant like the concept of, if you vote, I will take you seriously, the concept, not the person who I was talking to. Didn't think about that until I was like getting in my car and I said, oh, well, see you Wednesday. And he did not respond to me. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
He might have thought that I meant him specifically and that I just don't respect him as a person. Which,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where like, yeah, your right to vote is also your right not to.
right.
And especially in like a primary election, I feel like so many people would go in there and be like, well, I guess I'm a Democrat, so I'm voting for the people registered as Democrats.
Mhm.
Surprise, every single thing that's on the ballot for this year's election in Pennsylvania, you can cross-file. So a ton of people who are like, they want to ban books in school are registered as Democrat and filed as Democrat. So
Mhm.
like when you're voting for them, you might think that like they're actually not in favor of those things, but because they're cross-filed, the only people available for all positions are just trying to confuse you at that point. It's really neat, and I think it's awesome that we let that happen.
It is
Especially
pretty
for
great, isn't
things
it?
that are supposed to be apolitical positions like school board that have become incredibly politicized, yet all the candidates
Yeah.
cross-file regardless of their beliefs.
Yeah. It's a good time.
Yeah, and pretty much all the people that went through the primaries in my school district are all in favor of gutting the curriculum in our local school. And it's also really neat because 2 out of the 5 of them that are running in this coalition, it's called like the pro-parent movement. You
Fuck.
probably heard about parts of it, like Moms for Liberty and shit like that. 2 of the 5 of them are also on the board of a private school that hasn't started yet, but is starting next year. So they're a private charter academy that operates in the rural West County where I live. They're actually trying to create a private school and get the private school founding board members onto the school board for the public school. And they're also looking to ban things, cut funding, slash things they don't agree in.
See,
and so
that-
it's almost like that's a huge conflict of interest and is entirely unethical, and I think should straight up be illegal.
I was just about to say, I think that should be illegal.
I agree,
because
but
if
it's
you're a charter founding member,
if you own stake
and then you
in
also
a private school,
run for lack of a better term, a competing school,
it's a competing
how is
school,
that
yeah.
not a conflicting interest?
If you're running a for-profit private institution and you're getting elected to local school board so you can have a control over the education, and you're trying to gut certain things and then open up your school for the arts, that seems to me like it's not only a conflict of interest, you're directly gutting public education and the people in the rural community that's been fucked for years.
Oh yeah.
Like, I went to one of the poorest, dumbest schools that got like, and I'm not saying that in like they're dumb, but like actually, like we had a very much lower than average literacy rate. We had a lower than average graduation rate. Like, it wasn't a highly successful school.
Yeah.
And to see then people who are trying to get on the school board now and gut what they already have, as if they already don't have enough, and there's people trying to get into power to prohibit people from getting any more and take away some of the little that's already there. And it's just really frustrating to see.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it purely for political reasons, because they think that kids shouldn't be allowed to read books about gay people, which is stupid.
Yep.
Anyway, it's like literally happening in my town. I live in a town of like 250 people, and this is my school board election.
God, I fucking hate that, man.
Yeah.
It's so fucking depressing.
It's very, very upsetting.
There's like, I'm not even allowed to work in a restaurant because it's a conflicting interest with my job.
Yeah.
A restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Because
If
they buy
if
liquor.
they serve alcohol, I'm not allowed to work in one, or I will be fired.
Yeah. Because it's a conflict of interest.
Yep.
Because you're held to a standard.
If only people held education to a
So
standard.
anyway, if you live in the Erie area, you should care about that a little bit.
Yep, just a little bit, please. Thank you.
There's a couple of school boards that are doing that. That's my PSA on why it actually does kind of matter that people go out in the primary elections. But it also, at the same time, I'm not going to say it doesn't, but like all of those candidates were on my ballot. And the only reason I knew not to vote for them was because
you
I
knew
did
them.
my research and I like looked at who the candidates were and what they were running on and saw that there was like this pro-parent group. All of them were filed as both parties, and they made up a majority of the people who were getting elected anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like the majority of people running had been like co-opted into this movement, which is ridiculous.
Well, anyway, there's our classic OTA downer of an ending. I hope
I don't
you
think
guys
it's a
enjoyed.
little bit of a downer, but it's also like true. It's worth. And
I mean, it can be a
bears-
downer and true at the same
That's
time.
true, but like it's not over. Whatever it is.
No, yeah.
Like none of it's final. It's just this is the end of the primaries and that's what they want. But raising awareness now is like the best way to actually get a good result in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wherever you live, there's definitely organizations
and I feel like
that are
there's also
reputable and
that
trustworthy that you can, you can look to help provide information about candidates if you don't have the time to do research.
Not so much for this area, but some of them.
Yes, for your area, that's definitely a different situation. I know Erie has like 3 different groups that I subscribe to their newsletters just to know what they have going on. Plus, my union sends me a list of people to vote for.
There's a dude named Rock that was running for something.
Rock?
Yeah. And he actually seemed really cool.
Dwayne, the?
No, not Dwayne D.
Oh.
But I just remember, like, he wasn't like a candidate in my area. I just remember seeing a guy named Rock. I was like, first name Rock? And then like I heard him we had something from his press conference for his announcement. He seemed like a cool guy. But anyway, he was not in my jurisdiction. But I think that there's if you have a name like Rock, you're more likely to get voted for in a blind primary.
Yeah, no, without a doubt.
Who are you gonna vote for? What's the name from the Simpsons episode with the tell him to suck a lemon? It's like Vinny the Rat.
Tony Tightlips?
Tony Tightlips or Vinny the Rat. Who are you voting for?
Yeah, you know what?
I'm voting for Rock. Like that's the thing. Like you got
Tony Tightlips, Vinny the Rat, or Rock.
Yeah, it's just like a funny. I feel like having a cool name actually might just help you get elected.
It definitely
It's a Jamie Foxx all over.
Man, we're actually tying all of our stuff together today. This is the best episode we've ever done.
Jamie Foxx actually exists in the constellation, and one time a volcano erupted and it rained down a whole bunch of little images of Jamie Foxx's face.
Damn. I
do associate Jamie Foxx with like smoking weed? Because I actually don't.
No.
And I don't like.
I know
I'm
he
sure
definitely
he does.
Oh, without a doubt.
He was like, I feel like he was on at least one like Kanye song that mentions smoking weed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
because he was on Gold Digger.
Yeah. What does it mention?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It does. But anyway, yeah. So I'm sure he does, but I don't really associate him.
I just associate him with opulence.
I associate
like flashy wealth, I guess. You know?
I feel like he's cool.
He probably.
I have no
is
reason to
cool.
believe this, and I might be wrong, but I feel like Jamie Foxx and I would get along.
It's because of his swag and charisma. If he's not cool, he's tricked me into believing it, and that's half the battle.
I think that he and I would get along. I think we would be cool. So Jamie, when you get out of the hospital, man.
Yeah, you can come on the podcast.
Hit me up.
Just hang out with Jax and go fish.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Jamie Foxx. Maybe he likes fishing. He's probably got a boat.
He probably got a boat. You guys could do deep sea fishing.
Oh yeah, his boat's probably big enough to go in the deep ocean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that.
Get yourself one of those like 10-foot long tunas.
Yeah.
Gut it, cook it up, give yourself a 2-inch thick tuna steak right there and now.
Mari's been watching this show lately that's like tuna fishing, like extreme. It's like kind of like Deadliest Catch, but for tuna.
Okay. You know what? I've seen clips of that.
I have been trying to find it, but I can't find it on Netflix.
No, I don't know where it is, but I've seen clips of people with like 300-pound gutted
it's like a competition tuna fishing kind of like thing. And I don't know why, but it's on Netflix in Taiwan. I think it's like an English show that's like maybe even in America, like off the West Coast. But it's not on Netflix in the US. But I want to watch this tuna fishing show. And then me and Jamie Foxx are going to be on next season.
Wicked Tuna? Is that it?
This is a maybe.
Oh no, that's an old ass show.
I'll have to ask her what it's called because she just calls it the Tuna Show.
Wicked Tuna Outer Banks, perhaps? Because that's new enough. But that's National Geographic.
Maybe it is that.
Who knows? We'll look into it and get back to you.
We're going to get on the tuna fishing tournament with Jamie Foxx.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you and Mari are going to be invited. I don't know if Jamie Foxx knows you guys. I know that
he doesn't know us.
Yeah, he doesn't know me either, actually.
But he will.
But we get along.
Of course. I don't want to cramp your style.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's one of those where like, yeah, I mean, I'd like to invite you guys along, but I don't know if Jamie Foxx will be like, you can have like a +2.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be, I don't know.
Exactly.
We'll have to see. We'll have to play it by ear.
No, 100%. Yeah, remember me when you get famous. All that stuff.
Well, after we win.
Of course.
You think Jamie Foxx would you think he'd want to split the money, or you think he'd just let me have it? I think he'd want to split the money, and I feel like that would be fair because he would have done about half the work probably.
He would do all the work of providing the equipment.
I think he would help. Like he'd pull out the net.
Yeah.
He's a pretty strapping guy. He's pretty buff. He could probably help pick up a tuna.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have like a winch system. I don't know if his boat is rigged for deep sea fishing of large fish.
He'd probably have to rent one.
I don't know that he has a boat. I made that up, but I just
No,
I
he
mean, come
definitely has a
on.
boat.
Yeah, he's got to have a boat.
Yeah.
You look up Jamie Foxx. It's like all the stuff about him in the hospital. Like, no, I want to know about his boat.
Well,
He's got a mega yacht.
in a video. Okay, in a video. We don't know if that's actually real. I'm not watching this.
Yeah, that seems like it has nothing to do with the mega yacht. Fox's yacht or not? I mean, if that's his boat,
If he owns that,
then I think we could catch a tuna.
I think you could catch a tuna.
It doesn't look like it's rigged for it though.
It's not, but if you took that flag down, you could definitely rig up a tuna on it.
I don't know. Do you think is that Jamie Foxx's real boat? Do you think?
Who knows? How old is this video? Or
And
how old is
do you
this
think
article?
Jamie Foxx would actually have an American flag on the back of his yacht? Because he was in Django Unchained. He probably doesn't love America that much.
Do you have to fly a flag on a boat?
I don't think so. I saw a guy with a Modelo flag on his boat the other day when I
No,
was.
that's sick as hell.
as a
I want on
Prescott.
that boat.